Atma, namaste, everyone. This is Christian R. Long, Denver's #1 energy healer, and welcome to another episode of the Mahatma Project, spreading the message of great souls doing great work. And the woman we have on today is kind of an interesting connection how we made. My girlfriend runs the Real Life Book Club, Susanna Campora, and she is all over town networking with multiple women, entrepreneurs, business owners, coaches, and other women looking to make an impact in the world. And she basically connected the person I'm interviewing today last week. I was so impressed by her experience in the world of coaching people, facilitating people's personal development, spiritual development, that I said, hey, Victoria, do you want to be on my show? And she said, absolutely, let's get it done. Now, this is the very first time that I'm actually interviewing somebody while I'm on my computer and she's on her phone. So we don't know what the lag time is going to be or the clarity of the reception, but hey, this is all about exposing people to higher levels of truth. So if you can't hack the technology glitches, then too bad, right? So I want to give a quick background or intro, if I may, to Victoria, and I have her little sheet in front of me, so let me pull that up. Okay. And I want to make sure, Victoria, if I'm saying your last name incorrectly, I want you to correct me. So I have, is it Hannu?
It's Hannu.
Hannu, okay. So Victoria Lynne Hannu is an entrepreneur, coach, and visionary. She left corporate over 12 years ago to venture into the world of coaching, a 180-degree shift from working in the world of information technology, software development, process engineering, and project management. Sounds really exciting. As one who is both extremely left and right-brained, throughout the past 12-plus years, Victoria has focused on integrating the spiritual and the physical world, business, self, family, parenting, love, etc., for both herself and her clients. Working in a one-on-one coaching relationship with Victoria, excuse me, someone's got a fast button here, is not for the faint of heart, that's for sure. For she takes a deep soul dive approach to spiritual integration. However, unconditional love abounds for the adventurous souls ready to take the journey. Now, while Victoria enjoys diving deep in her work with individual clients and facilitating organizations, she understands that there is an even greater impact to be made in the world through delivery of products and services that are in support of other service professionals and individuals for Enlightened Planet. As such, she is presently launching a quantum physics-based approach to managing your time called guilt-free time structures, how to make time working for you instead of against you. So I'm actually really excited about learning more about that. She is a dynamic facilitator, relational, out-of-the-box thinker who demonstrates the ability to successfully identify, connect, expand, integrate, and articulate, which rhymes, diverse ideas, concepts, and processes into a cohesive strategy. So whether working with individuals in small groups or facilitating large teams, order comes out of chaos, cultures change, sense is made out of the big picture, and strategies get results and legacies are created. So everyone, welcome Victoria to the Mahatma Project interview.
Thank you, Christian. It's an honor to be here, and I am so grateful. It was just amazing how the universe connected us through Susanna. She's an amazing woman. I just love when the flow happens, and you're amazing, and I just love our connection that we had instantly.
For sure. I feel like we've known each other for a long time, and who knows, maybe we had this agreement to reconnect at this time under these ages and circumstances to make some cool things happen. So this is part of it. So I want to actually get a little bit of idea. God, there's so many different directions to go. I mean, we had a really good conversation last week, but for the people that are listening to this, the Mahatma Project is messages of people doing great things and spreading that all over the place. So where would you like to start in this interview? And then we'll just kind of go with some of the questions we have lined out.
Well, the thing is that we are really all here to raise the energy of the planet. There is several years ago, I knew what I was here for, but there's several years ago where I put a really interesting piece to it. It was like, oh gosh, it's probably over 25 years ago now. I was looking at, and it's like, I'm a light worker, and we're all here to raise the energy of the planet, to elevate it to the next dimension. And in doing so, it's like, oh, this is what I'm supposed to be doing. now it's been a journey since then trying to figure it out, but I think that's what we're all here for.
And that would kind of like tie into, on your website, you talk a lot about vision, and even in your bio, you mentioned vision several times. So for you, what does having a vision mean?
Well, having a vision means, what are you up to, and when you do your work in the world, your mission. So many times vision and mission get really messed up. And when you're really into doing your work, you have to have a vision, and that vision is bigger than you. Is what is the impact you're making in the world? When you do what you do, how does it impact the world, and to you, what does the world look like? So vision is much bigger than yourself. It's not about you. It's really about the impact of your work in the world.
So what would you say about the people that are starting out in understanding their vision, and let's say they're like, you know what, I have this big vision for my life, but I still got to pay the bills, I still got to handle my day-to-day obligations and responsibilities, and they kind of get bogged down in the mire of like, my vision is not something grander than me, but it's really, I got to take care of my own stuff. So what would you say to somebody that is in the beginning stages of their vision?
Well, don't worry about it. It will really, it will come to you. The thing is I didn't, a vision. My vision started out is, okay, I'm a light worker. I still have to pay the bills. I don't know what that looks like. I just knew I was doing what I did. And over time, I've learned to follow guidance, because when we do what we need to do, the vision will open and manifest. And it has to be coming from our heart and our passion. I mean, I remember when I was on the airplane coming home from my grandfather's funeral. And on the way home from his funeral, I picked up this book, Do What You Love, and the Money Will Follow. And at that time, I had a 13-year-old at home, and I was working a job in the IT software industry, and I was also doing Amway, trying to get it so that I could be home and have a different life, right? Because we all want a different life. We're called to. We're here to have fun. The planet is our playground. It's not just about survival, and although we get caught in that. So when I was doing that, I read that book, my grandfather's funeral, and it's like, who do I want to be, and who do I want to be known as in this world? And it was like, all right, I quit the Amway and started looking for what was next, what would fill my heart and generate the money. And eventually, what you do, if you do what you love, you will generate the money.
Beautiful. Doing what you love to generate money. I like the concept of that. So you're saying for a very, very long time you've known that you're a light worker, and I'm curious because I was the kid that went to school because that's what I was told to do. Go to school, get a job, get some stability, and then after you have that, make your mark in the world. And I left school very early. I was a straight A student. I was on the honor roll, but I was bored to tears, and I said, I got to go move somewhere and have some other experiences. And that's when I found meditation and spirituality, and that's basically paved the way for the rest of my life. So when you were in college and you did your 4-year degree, the vision you had for your life then, how is it different than the vision you have for your life now?
Well, I will have to say, honestly, when I was in college, I didn't have a vision for my life. I had absolutely no vision. I just knew that I needed to do what I was doing. I had gone to my first year of college. Then I left that. I went into the Air Force for a year, got pregnant with my first child, and did that. And then I was driving past DU every day when I was taking her to the babysitter, and I was called, I need to go back to school. I need to go back to school. And so I did, and I got my degree in computer management science because in that process I'd gotten married to my first husband, and his father-in-law happened to be a professor at Metro, and he said, go into computer science, you make a lot of money. Okay, so that's what I did. And I loved school, didn't necessarily really like that industry, but it fit with my left brain, and which was at the time was more dominant. So at the same time, I was also doing my spiritual studies. I'm an ordained Druid priestess, along with I studied a form of schooling called Builders of the Addendum. It's a study of Tarot and the Kabbalah, and I did that for quite a while as well. So I've always been on this adventure. I'm one of being extremely left brain, extremely right brain, integrating the two. I'm going from one to the other and follow whichever path. It's been a challenge, so that's where I am.
If someone came to you as a teenager or as a college student and offered you a vision, do you think you would have been open and receptive to anything at that time in your life?
You know, very possibly. I really probably would have been, because I always felt kind of like I was an odd one out, because I actually had my first spiritual experience, like I told you when we talked, when I was 12. I came out, I grew up in Judeo-Christian, and my mom and I was the oldest of 5 kids, so this was a special treat, because she and I went to midnight service on Christmas Eve, and the candlelight service, and I came out of there. I connected to spirit in there. I don't even remember what the service was about or what it was like, but I felt like I was walking 10 feet off the ground, and I was just really connected. And after that, the world that I lived in was so different. I even went down the path of joining the Jesus Freaks for a little while at one of the schools when we moved. So it was a really, from that point on, I was checking out everything. I was completely checking out everything, and never became really a part of any religious or total spiritual focus group. I did Builders of the Addendum, which had a ritual group here in Colorado, but other than that, I wasn't part of any group for any length of time.
So you're kind of like a spiritual dabbler, just finding what resonated with you at that time and gave you the resources or the contacts or the insights needed to take you to the next level. And it sounds like the next level of your life, very clearly on your website, is about helping entrepreneurs with their visions. So I want to talk to you a little bit about that. What is it, how to say this, why are you excited about helping entrepreneurs with their vision? What does that burn for you?
Well, it burns for me is that connection. So for me, it's all about relations and relationships, not just of people, but everything is connected. And working with the entrepreneurs, there's such a creativity. And the thing is there's this, I'm a real student of the thought that we are, as we go through life, we're wisdom keepers. And it's so exciting to help someone and to see the light bulb turn on and to go forward. And if I can make somebody else's path easier than the path that I went on, I want to do that. Because it just makes it, and it helps with the acceleration, because as I said before, this is a playground. We're here to play and to have fun and to connect with one another. Scarcity, pain, sorrow, there are things we really don't have to go through, but we think we do. And if I can help others move along their path and their life. I mean, I just did a tea conversation regarding my guilt-free time structures, just as the first one to start launching it. And one of the gals that came to it, her husband was here with her. A couple came, and she had been stuck on this block on launching her business. She's a stay-at-home mom, and so she's launching her business by itself, in her spare time when she's got 2 little 3 and 4-year-old running around. That's really fun.
Yeah, for sure.
But after this tea, I just introduced her to one of the concepts, and my gosh, he sent me a picture the next day showing the mind map that she'd been able to put together on the one part that she was stuck on, and now she's launching her first course and the map. And he goes, he didn't send me the follow-up. He says, I really should have sent you the follow-up because it was even better. But just to have that breakthrough is like so much fun, and to celebrate each individual and their contribution, because it feeds the whole.
That's so beautiful that you said that life is a playground and we should be having fun, we should be connecting, we should be assisting one another on the path, because like you said, you've had a lot of life experience that other people can now benefit from. I'm guessing when you're going through the life experience and the trials and the tribulations and the hardships, you probably weren't thinking, oh yeah, this is going to be great for the people I work for or work with in the next 10 years. And yeah, you offering like the process map or your insight into the world of time, which I'm super interested in, because like I was talking to you in our discussion last week, it's like that's my superpower. But you sharing those little nuggets with people, you can save them thousands of hours over the lifetime of them using that technique or that methodology. So it's freaking awesome. I love it. I love it. I saw on your website, and this is what I want to talk to you more about, is that you have a core values list. And I don't see this on a lot of websites. And so, I mean, for people that want to go, they can go to heartandsoulceo.com. I'll also put it in the link below the video. But on her page about us, at the bottom, it has core values. And a few of them are self-growth and the actualization and embodiment of spirit within the physical world, personal responsibility and open-mindedness, unconditional love and acceptance, and there's more to that. But I wanted to know, did these core values come to you just all at one time? Is this something you've been critiquing over the years through working with clients, or like how did this list of core values come into being?
Okay. The list of core values came into being through a process that I actually do. I have a whole vision, mission process where we go into core values. And so I have a worksheet that I go through. And one of the things is for me, when I came up with my core values list, I did the work through the system that I put together to take my clients through. And I started developing that system all the way back in 2004. Because when I worked in corporate, I discovered, and so values became really important for me, is the last company that I worked for in corporate, I just couldn't stand being there. And there was so many things that were out of alignment, right? And I'm going, what the heck is this? And when you're at that place, sometimes you want to look at it and make them wrong, right? And what I discovered is that in a company, and for myself, is that when your values are not in alignment with the company that you're with or the people that you're working with, there's friction. If you don't have aligned values, you don't have to have the same values, but they have to be aligned, and they have to be complementary for it to move smoothly. And that piece was how do I figure out this? And I put my values up because they're important. We have values whether that are hidden and whether we know it or not. We have these values. And so I took myself through the process, had a friend help me, and they came out, that list of values has not really changed. I refined them and get them so that they're more, better articulated in that. And so when I work with my clients, one of the things that I do and why I can do deep soul dives is that my higher self and their higher self connect. Half the time, I'm not doing the work. It's happening at the other level, and the things that are coming out my mouth aren't coming out of my brain. They're coming through my brain, but they're not coming out of my brain. And so I can tap into them and their core values and help articulate that. And my first one on the spiritual integration, that has to do with my life purpose as well. Because my life purpose is to integrate and embody spirit in the world in everyday life. And that's what my purpose is. And there's a difference the way I approach life purpose than a lot of other people as well.
How so?
Well, your life purpose is hidden. And I can find anybody's life purpose pretty much within 10 to 15 minutes. Is your life purpose lies in where you're most resistant. It lies in your biggest challenge. And for me, being left brain, right brain, is really embodying spirit in everyday life, listening to my higher self, listening to source. I've been one of the most resistant people around the planet for a long time, and yet it's been very important to me. And that's how it is. So it's about embodying it and integrating it. When I discovered I was a light worker, it's like, oh, this is great. I don't want to go off and try and meditate on a mountain. You know, I don't want to extricate myself from the world because I really love being in the physical world.
Mm. And they say a lot of the spiritual teachers and gurus say that the life of the householder is actually more challenging than the life of the yogi or the sadhu, because if you're in the mountains, in the Himalayas, and you're completely isolated from the rest of the world, there's not a lot of pressure, external pressure, testing your patience, your understanding, your compassion for other people. But living in the workaday world, you have traffic issues, you have people missing deadlines or not keeping their end of the bargain, you have car problems, you have all these different challenges that I think a spiritual practitioner who lives in the world has so much more opportunity to evolve than someone who is, say, isolated in the Himalayas. And that's not to say, Victoria, that the people in the Himalayas are not very evolved, developed people. But I'm saying we as Westerners have very unique challenges on the spiritual path. So I love that you're talking about integrating spirituality with the physical, material world. So bravo.
Thanks.
I have to keep myself hydrated here. I'm the guy doing all the talking sometimes. All right, so so out of all the people, so on your path, from the early part of your life, having that profound experience, to the passing of your grandfather, having another awakening, and then the transitioning of the kids and all that stuff, who has come on your path? Friend, family member, stranger, even a book. Who has come on to your path to facilitate your ability to serve other people?
Well, I would have to say, I had great respect for my grandfather, and his death was an impetus in that sense, as far as sending me on the path of doing what I love and having the money to follow. And from that path, my husband has been just this amazing, great support and growth. The biggest thing is I have teachers that happen along my path, Joe Vitale, different books that I read. And I just have to say that there's one book that I keep rereading all the time, and that's Ramtha. Not J.K., something Knight, but I can't remember the name. It's drawing a blank for me now, because I took this question, because you had shared this question with me, and the real challenge for me is there's not one single person. It's like I'm on this path, and anybody, the everyday person, the friends that come up to me. I know last December I had decided I didn't want to build a coaching practice, right? Not in the traditional sense of a coaching practice. I've always been non-traditional, something I start going into and I'm going, hey, this isn't where I'm supposed to be. This isn't what I'm supposed to be doing. However, I went to a networking group, and I went to Serta's networking group, and I ran into all these people that some of them I might have coached for only 15 minutes. And I got to hear from them the impact in that 15 minutes or that 30 minutes, that maybe that was the only time we'd connected, and how much of a difference that made in their lives. And it was like, oh, wow. So I had to really look at that and say, is it that I'm not coaching? No, it's that I've got so many things that I need to do. Coaching is part of it. It's that deep soul dive for those that are ready to do the journey. I'm not out there trying to get everybody to come and be coached. I'm the guide to help on that type of a journey, and it's just every person. My clients impact me in them, as they grow, and I get to witness. Because really, I'm just the facilitator. I'm the channel in the process when I work with my clients. I have processes, I have systems, but it's all about extracting it from them and working with their higher self and helping them do the physical path of their spiritual progress.
Well said. Well said. And speaking of spiritual progress, for those of you who don't know, Victoria is actually sitting in her meditation chair right now. And that leads me into the part of, so you doing several different practices and kind of like, as I would say, dabbling, getting a taste of this, taste of that. At this point in your life, what would you say your spiritual practice is?
All right. My spiritual practice is, the word we call it in my house is, we're spiritualists. Okay? Very connected to source and connected to spirit, and that the information and the teachers come along the path. If we look at it in that way, that's the path. So it's not so much as dabbling, because if you say I'm a seeker, oftentimes a seeker never finds, right? So
yeah.
It's about traveling my path, following my spiritual path, and over the last year and a half, it's been even more conscious, listening to inner guidance, listening to where's it I'm supposed to be going, and then everybody shows up for me that I need. It's like, oh, I can wake up here more. Oh, I can wake up here more. I can learn this here. But it comes in, it's almost like it comes into my path, not me trying to find it.
So it's almost by you going deeper into your spiritual life versus broader across your spiritual life, you're exposed to the people, resources, etc., that take you to the place that, oh, maybe I need to work on forgiveness, or maybe I need to work on, a prosperity mindset, or maybe I need to. So is that what you're getting at? Like, people will come like that? Okay. Yes,
because it's internally driven. It's not. I've learned to quit pushing. Is we can go and try and make the world to be like what we want, trying to make ourselves wrong. I've done all that. It's like, I'm done with that. Okay, so show me the way. It's like following that inner guidance of show me the way. And so that's my spiritual path, is show me the way. Yeah. And it all comes.
And it all comes together. And for you, on the being in this world of showing other people the way, since basically 2004, through your coaching practice, and now creating the products and services to assist people with their vision, and getting a lot of feedback from a lot of different people, where do you see small businesses, where do you see the coaching business and the healing business going over the next 5 years? Do you see any trends popping up, or any ahas?
Well, I guess part of the trends that I see popping up is that each person that impacts more people, that's really great. And I think it's challenging different people to stretch themselves. And one of the biggest things that I see is the biggest challenge for coaches, for healers, is to understand their value. And I see in the next 5 years there's a real big need for them to move through understanding their value, that helping people and being of service to others also includes being there for themselves first. So it's a huge wave of personal development, personal growth. And for those in these industries, it's really about facilitating the transparency, because the world and the world of commerce is not like it was before. They expect transparency. They expect the movement. The language is even training. I was in a company a few weeks ago, and they were using the language we use in the coaching and healing industries. It's like, wow, and this is a big corporation. So,
no kidding.
Yeah, it was really interesting, because they're using all the language that I'm familiar with after my 12+ years in the coaching industry. It's just like, wow, this was really cool, because companies aren't going to stay the way they are. And the thing is as individual coaches, and you see it more because the personal development industry is getting a lot bigger than it was, whether it's in healing, as a holistic practitioner, yoga, coaching, all the different areas, they're becoming mainstream. And the impact is like this wave. and the more it goes, it's part of the enlightenment of the planet.
Woohoo! I could not agree with you more, Victoria, about coaches and healers not valuing what they're offering. And a lot of these people have very good healing skills, very good coaching skills, have a lot of poverty consciousness, self-doubt, self-sabotage, fear of success, fear of failure, and they don't value their time. That's why a lot of healers, instead of accepting and receiving money, they'll accept trade. So they meet a massage therapist, they're a healer or a coach, and then they'll say, hey, do you want to trade? My time for your time. But here's the thing, you and I both know you can't pay your electric bill through trade. Right?
That's a fact. You really can't. And the other part that they, as part of their value piece is that trading the time and not saying no and holding boundaries. Thinking because somebody needs help, that they have to help them. And to go back to a phrase that comes out of the Bible is it's better to teach someone how to fish than give them a fish. And the unfortunate thing is half the time with that poverty mindset, it's about giving them a fish, not teaching them how to fish.
Well said. Well said. So for the listeners out there who might be a coach or a healer or a startup entrepreneur that are having that sticking point of poverty consciousness or self-doubt or not valuing their worth or their time, what nugget or what takeaway can you give them?
Okay, well, I can give them a couple. One is don't should on yourself, because you've got to be able to fit within your framework and what works for me and for you. You work for yourself as a coach, as a healer. You set your schedule up to work for you, and everybody else will follow along. Don't say, I should. My clients are only available at night. Well, if that's what you say, guess what? That's what they are. But you don't want to work at night. Well, if you say they're only available at night and you have to work at night, you're not valuing you, and you're not going to have the business that you want. The other thing is learn to say no. Don't take on a client that's not working for you or that isn't a fit just because of the money. That's the poverty mindset that comes in, and it comes in so trickily sometimes.
Excellent. That is, yeah, absolutely. Because in any coaching or healing capacity, you're going to be with that person for an extended period of time, and if you guys aren't, if you're constantly butting heads with one another, or they're a difficult client, it's time to cut them loose, have some abundance consciousness about it, and go, hey, there's a million other people, literally a million other people out there who could use your product, your service, your coaching, your healing. So to be hung up on any one person, that is a demonstration of poverty consciousness. So I think you nailed it right on the head, which leads us into the 3-minute commercial or promotion for your time management program that I want to know about. And then if people were to hire you, how would they do that?
Okay, great. Yeah, the time management, guilt-free time structures, how to make time work for you instead of against you. It's for all of us who are big thinkers, big idea people, left brain, right brain, ADD. Most entrepreneurs have a little bit of ADD, some have a lot. I know I have a little, got great focus, but when the big ideas come in, how do you do that? And one of the things in the traditional time management pieces I've seen, and for me, what I experienced is, how do I put it in a list? How do I really manage this? And what I did is I discovered in the process for myself is most of the time structures and most time systems don't honor the individual, your natural rhythms. First, it's important to understand who you are, where you are at, your natural rhythms, what is your life like in such that you need to work. You've got constraints. And back to the value. What is the value of you? What are your values? And finding those pieces and your expertise. And then moving into how do you take all these things that are in this big bucket in your brain that keep coming in and you keep flowing, how do you put them together? What connects to what? And then once you know what connects to what and how it is, how do you manage that? How do you get things done so that you move forward instead of feeling like you're swimming in this pool of thoughts and ideas and not knowing which direction to go, or getting lost when you get done with one major thing and you're done with this and you're going, okay, now what? I sit there and just go, you know, type of thing. And then how do you set it out? How do you lay it out so that you are honored? And the guilt-free time structures is about honoring you with your time, having it fit you, and then working with others, because it does work for you. It works that way. I know, and she won't mind me saying her name here because you know her, Megan Conter. Is one of my clients who, guilt-free time structure, she's going to be holding an intro workshop. I believe it's the 3rd of March. She's going to be hosting one of these. And she said that of the work she did with me, the guilt-free time structures and going through this time process moved her forward. While she enjoyed all the work we did and she moved with it, this piece, going through guilt-free time structures, gave her the biggest results the fastest out of all the work. It's just phenomenal. It's just really neat to see people free themselves up with it.
So big results fast. So do you hear that, everyone? So using this system, you take all the jumbliness in your head, you put it on paper, you systematize it, and then you're more effective in your day-to-day life that is valuing your authenticity, that is valuing, as we would talk about earlier, your core values. So I think that's an extremely good point. And I remember that one of the first questions I asked you, Victoria, when we first spoke was, do you use the system yourself? And what did you say?
I said yes. I'd go nuts if I didn't, because using the system myself, I developed it predominantly for me, because I was always so afraid. I was missing something. I was trained in Franklin Covey, the day planner system back in the mid-90s, and I kept feeling like I was missing something. It was like, and I was, because there were things that were important that it's like, there's something missing here. It's not right. This doesn't feel right. You know, going through to-do lists that never get done because they're not the right ones that you're working on. So I started developing it for myself. How do I capture everything for me? And I did this system over time. I turned it into a class that I did with my vision mission work. And what Spirit guided me to do is said, this is what you need to take out there. And this is what you need to take out in the world. And so it has a different website than Heart and Soul CEO, but it's just being launched in its full form, because I was told, given guidance, that this is what needs to be out there for others to be able to do the same thing. It takes time up front, but once you have it down, it just helps you move. I don't spend more than 15 minutes in a single day, no more than an hour at the beginning of the week, you know, laying out my week, what's going to do, what am I going to work on outside of my meetings, when do I schedule my meetings, how do I work best for me, what's within the constraint of my family. It just brings it all together.
Bringing it all together and getting the overwhelmed feelings out the door. Love it.
Absolutely.
Love it. Thank you. Victoria, we ran a little bit over, guys. I apologize, but hey, we got some meatiness going on, and we want to add a lot of value to all the people that are watching this today. So below this video, I'm going to have all of Victoria's links, her website, her program. So if you want to take advantage of it, click on it and contact her directly and make it happen. So I hope this video is of value to everyone. Victoria, I want to thank you for coming on the Mahatma Project today and sharing your soul's energy and your time, because, well, time is pretty much the only thing that we have, and it's the only thing that we don't get back. So thank you for sharing your precious time with us today. And so anything else? I think that covers it, guys. So this is Christian Arlong, Denver's #1 energy healer for the Mahatma Project, spreading the message of great souls doing great work. I hope you enjoy the rest of your Wednesday, and we'll see you next Wednesday. Atma Namaste. Bye, guys. Oops. Always got to hit that button. Bam!